trouble when I first get in. I don't even know why. Like with the races, I'm like, something. I don't know.
And here in the bottom half of the map, the bottom left, we have got our red Zerg Voltz.
Orbital Shipyard, of course, was one of those maps in early Legacy of the Void Beta where Terran could really just shut down Zerg with Liberators and such, and I wonder if we're going to see even more of that. However, recently I've just seen so many Nidus networks into Roach pushes on this map because you do have a very large main, and Terran, you're just not expecting it, Koshkii. It's not on
Exactly.
your... It's not on your repertoire of, okay, maybe they're Baneling busting me, maybe they're going Mass Muta, oh, maybe they're Nidus not working me. So you gotta watch out.
Yes. I've been Overlord dropped on this map as well with Banelings. It's rough, and like you said, the Nidus. There's definitely the potential there. So
Looks like
I
it's
wouldn't be surprised to see it.
RainOnSKy is going to be an opening up 3 racks, and that may be Reapers. It looks like it will be a 3 racks Reaper play across the map. Every once in a while I do see a change of that, but of course you see the second gas being added on for RainOnSKy, which he does need to make this happen. And for Voltz looked like he went hatch gas pool, I believe, and honestly, you can defend Reapers on this map right off the bat. When you see them, you just have to make the decision. I'm going to go Mass Queen. I got to pump out Queens, and that is how, at least the easiest way I've found to push them back.
Yeah, and it wouldn't surprise me at all to see that that's where the game goes. As far as after that, after those Reapers have been pushed back by those Queens, there's still a lot the Zerg can do here. Um, we could possibly see maybe just more of a Roach Ravager style play, but in TVZ, do you think we might see something different? Do you might think we could see something else?
Well, in TVZ recently, I know players like Nero and some of the top ladder are going towards that +1/+1 melee ling really strong, and you can drop with them against Terran, and that could be possible, especially on a map like this, to deal with these Reapers. But, we'll see if that happens. In the end, 2 more Reapers are coming out on the way. It's going to be 3 at a time once this comes in. At least the nice thing for Voltz is generally with the 3-Rex Reaper, you kind of have waves of 2 and 1 Reaper. It doesn't come in just 3 Reapers at a time and just this skyrockets. It is slightly delayed in how they start to produce. So you can delay them, but as I was mentioning, it's got to be Queens. Lings can do a little bit, but you need to pump out as many Queens as you can to hold this. Nice KD8 charges. I'd actually love to see if you can KD8 a Queen off the side of the
I
ledge.
I was just wondering that too when I saw that. One of those Reapers getting very low though. They are pushed or pulled back. The Mass Reaper, or not Mass Reaper, but the many Reapers here, they are doing a little bit of damage, but the Queens are out, so that should help to kind of pull this away. And the Reapers can't really get anywhere near creep at the moment.
Very nice micro from Voltz on these Queens, pulling them back, and now he's got enough lanes, but KDA charges could be a little bit deadly. I love that with the Reapers stopping on the ramp to let the Lings accumulate below the KDA charges or on top of the KDA charges. However, RainOnSKy has to retreat. I love that you have the island in the middle of this map. So useful for the Reapers, and now what are they going to retreat back onto, Koshkii?
Looks like right now we've had a few more Reapers being produced, but now we've got double tech labs coming out and a reactor on another barrack. So probably just macroing up at this point. A factory has just now gone down, so maybe RainOnSKy is just thinking, oh, I'll get some bio, I'll get my factory, and then I can get my medevacs out. Maybe go for some liberators later. There's still time to do other things as well, but that may be what RainOnSKy is thinking. We have got Stim and Combat Shield also being made now. So it could just be some bio forces coming out.
Definitely, and we can also see timing attacks if we are going to see an engineering bait on the way. Generally, as Terran, I've found this more and more in Legacy of the Void, is you have this one big Reaper wave, whatever, in the beginning, and then you're just preparing for your next wave. Terran say, my next attack, Stim and Combat Shields finish. And that's most likely what will happen. However, with that early attack, I just gotta point out, 0 workers killed. With a Reaper Fast Expand, that is so much gas. In a 3-Rax Reaper, pardon me, it wasn't Reaper Fast Expand, but a 3-Rax Reaper, that is so much gas he needs to do damage. Yet on the other side, Koshkii, I've been really wondering how straight up bio with Reapers mixed in for the AoE can function on its own if you're actually focusing on that.
Yeah, and that's a good point. And, well, it could do well, but I think the bigger problem at the moment for RainOnSKy, is the Nidus network that's being made now for Voltz. It is getting close to done. We see the queens getting ready to go in there. The roaches prepared to move into that Nidus network as well. We got overlords getting in position. We could see this very soon, but the scan does reveal the Nidus network right now.
A perfect scan for Voltz, and he's going to be able to get his units there. However, he does have to pull kind of through a choke point. He's got a siege tank ready, and there's no buildings around this to provide a little bit of a sim city against Voltz. But we see Voltz instantly being focused down, and one queen gets out, but there's no transfuse. I love that, as we were talking before this about those Nidus network, it's something you see more and more. Thankfully for Voltz, he didn't get more units out of that. Even though the queen tried to make something happen, I guess he's going to go for another Nidus network. Even if this doesn't work, it's not the hugest commitment, but he's got to be really careful not to keep throwing down those Niduses and take a third and start macroing up. However, he can kind of pull out of this if he wants to.
Yeah, and there is another Nidus, and another one after that has gone down. But it is in vision of RainOnSKy, so I'm curious if he's going to kind of register that that's very close. The army is pretty close there to take it down.
Gotta remember, Nidus is... Oh, there they go. Queens are out, and the bio of RainOnSKy will not be focusing down any of those Nidus networks, and the units of Voltz are just coming out one by one. Not enough are being allowed to accumulate to actually overwhelm the bio force, with those queens coming out early and getting focused down. But however, there may be just enough roaches on the way lings, but honestly, it's just like it's literally a meat grinder. One unit by one unit moving into it and just dying. And finally, the bio of a RainOnSKy is able to snipe it. Now there's 3 queens, 1 here, and there's not even a creep tuber. There's no lasting effect, and Voltz is kind of coming up short.
Voltz realizes he needs to do something else again soon. He gets another Nidus network down. But it looks like it is another Nidus worm, excuse me. Not a Nidus network, another Nidus worm. But it does die there pretty fast. And now Voltz probably feeling a bit worried, wondering what he can do to get back into this game, because he lost quite a bit when doing that attack.
You know, what I was saying earlier is maybe he just doesn't go for a Nidus network, he goes for a head-on attack, but it's really hard on Orbital Shipyard with that tight choke, and you can't even attack the third, really. You can delay it, but not push into it. At least for Voltz, RainOnSKy has been delayed, but you gotta remember, starting off with this game, as I mentioned, those Reapers killed 0 workers. 0. It was a complete bust for RainOnSKy, so maybe that just evened it up.
It could, yeah. There is that. But however, I do think that the command center here, like you said, it has been delayed. It is a bit late, but it's now the 8:15 minute mark. Do you think that's a little too late?
It may be a little bit too late. It honestly depends on what we're going to see right now, and that is exactly what RainOnSKy is saying. Okay, I'm going to move out. He can expand while he's attacking. I always say that to Tempo, and he's like, I don't know what you're talking about. Like, it was in a song you said. Listen to too much Tempo, and then I'll try to quote him, and then he'll be like, what? I'm like, okay, Tempo, you should know what I'm talking about. However, RainOnSKy moving out across the map, and actually he does have a very nice target, the 4th hatch of Voltz. We'll see where he moves from here, and honestly, Voltz has got Mass Roach, Ravager, versus 14 Marauders. That is a potent Terran force to push back the Roaches.
The Ravagers will help a little bit, especially against the tanks, but the medevacs at the same time could lift those up. Oh, but 2 tanks go down.
Really nice snipe by those tanks, but I'm not sure if there's going to be enough roaches here. RainOnSKy actually splits up his army just a little bit. We'll be able to focus down some of these Ravagers on the left-hand side, while the Marauders and everything on the right-hand side is being kind of pushed around in a clockwise or counterclockwise fashion. Looks like they're going to be able to push through this. There's not quite enough here for Voltz, but 13 more roaches are on the way, and I think it's going to be able to overwhelm. Another tank is gone. There's not going to be a place for RainOnSKy to fall back onto, maybe getting into the medevacs, whatever, but he will be able to actually achieve damage.
There is a nicer surround here on these roaches. It does force RainOnSKy to just kind of move back a bit. However, this damage was done here to Voltz, and in fact, this third base is a little low on health. It did survive, but it could possibly go down in the future.
Another key drop, possibly for RainOnSKy, could be to snipe that. We do have a 4th base, thankfully, though, for Voltz, which we don't quite have drones. 8 drones are on the way. A big wave to saturate that. Well, the 3rd CC is only now of RainOnSKy moving out. What I was mentioning before is, okay, it's a little bit late, but he can do damage. And even though he pushed out roaches, he still did not do economic damage. Got 3 worker kills, something along those lines. So right now, RainOnSKy, a little bit of precarious position. It is decently even. Actually, I take that back. It's about 1/3 more income for Voltz at the moment. He is doing a phenomenal job, even though he threw away the army. Maybe he's just deeming himself. If I can just make sure you don't take a whole bunch of expansions, you can't do anything. I can suicide my army a few times.
Yeah, we do see RainOnSKy moving out. The army composition for both players, it does seem to favor RainOnSKy here. But some really good Ravager shots.
Oh, big stem forward into the Zerg army. Voltz has to pull back and just lose about everything instantly. This time he does not have those Ravager shots to delay the siege tanks. Beautiful fungal, but that's only going to slow down the destruction of this 4th base position. Drones are going to be pulled on the right-hand side, and now there's only a few seconds left for Voltz to be able to defend. 2 investors on the way, 10 more roaches, and does he have pathogen glands? It looks like he does, but I'm not sure that's going to be enough. 90 army supply to 49.
Yeah, and RainOnSKy, he is smelling blood in the water here, I think. Voltz, though, doing a pretty good job taking out another tank there, but I think the army here for RainOnSKy is just a lot larger.
Purely able to overwhelm after Voltz has thrown his army away a couple of times, and it's such a wonky composition. Drones are going to be pulled once again, but I don't think it's going to be enough. Looks like RainOnSKy is going to be able to push through Voltz, and even though his Reaper fast expand the beginner, pardon me, the 3-Rex Reaper wasn't able to achieve damage, he's still taking a dominating lead.
Yeah, RainOnSKy has found a way to make this game work for him, and I feel like part of that was the scouting, catching those Nidus worms. Catching that Nidus network that had just finished was a huge, advantage there for RainOnSKy.
Definitely. Voltz, however, will not give up, or I don't even know what he's doing, just rallying roaches into his opponent at this point. It's the best of 3. There's the GG. Deadly Gaming's RainOnSKy is able to make it through 1-0 so far. He's got one more win to get there.
Yep, GG, well played.
I believe that was the first round of 16, or whatever round it is at this point. See, when you have even rounds, mentioning before, I casted a tournament with a round of 16, I can just say it, like, now we're in the round of 4, now we're in the round of 5, whatever. Round of 5, Kappa. Voltz versus RainOnSKy. The winner of this is going to move on to face Pilly Billy, so that should be an exciting game.
Yeah, both players played really well there. Voltz did really good defense against the Mass Reaper. No workers were killed during that attack, during all those Reaper attacks. But at the same time, RainOnSKy saw what was going on and really used that to his advantage. And it almost felt like it helped him when he had that Nidus out that was just bringing out one roach at a time, because he was just taking care of all of his opponent's army, with almost no loss to himself. There were a few army units that were lost, but it really did favor RainOnSKy there.
In the very beginning of a lot of those Nidus attacks, either A, you just need to be in the dark so you can accumulate your units for a bigger attack, or B, when your queens come out and they're transfusing, you really, even though it's kind of counterintuitive, you have to hope that the Terran focuses your queens so those units can't accumulate and just don't go one by one into, what, like a 500 DPS army? If you really think about it, it's one shot and everything moving through there.
Yeah, and that really helped, I think, RainOnSKy as well. But our next game, loading up here, looks like we will be on Dusk Towers. Dusk Towers always kind of struck me as similar to Orbital Shipyard in a way. And I mean, the layouts are kind of the same, but there are some small differences. So we can see how players can work those out to their advantage.
Of course, you do have that pocket base like Orbital Shipyard, but one of the biggest differences on Dusk Towers to Orbital Shipyard is you do have a sort of choke point, or 2 choke points in the middle, where to get from the east to west side, there's only one way, and in ZVZ, it can kind of make the game congested, you have a lot of lurkers, whatever, but in TVZ, generally, I don't see the middle played out as much. However, I guess for spotting a Zerg army, you always know they're, somewhere around there. You can sit down some lurkers, whatever, or banelings. I guess burrowed banelings could be really strong.
Burrowed banelings there would be beautiful. I would love to see a play like that.
Actually, Dusk Towers is one of those maps where you can kind of just assume where they're going to automatically move through. And just, there's some banelings right there. Oh, I'd love to try that now. Now that I say it, I always have that happen to me when I cast. I'll be talking about something and be like, whoa, that's really cool. I got to try that out now. That's an awesome thing.
Like, write these things down as as we're casting. Like, oh, I want to remember that.
Of course I write these things down as we're casting. Awesome. Hawkeye knows how much I write stuff down, and then I forget to put it on Google Docs, and it goes all hell from there. But in the top right-hand corner,